It is often said that the architecture of a life is built first in the mind. We hear the old adages about thoughts becoming things, yet there remains a vast canyon between knowing this truth and living it. Why do so many remain trapped in cycles of struggle while others seem to effortlessly ascend? The answer lies not in luck, but in self-perception. Today, we are going to explore a story that unravels this mystery, a narrative about dignity, value, and the moment a mindset shifts from poverty to abundance. In the chaotic hum of a bustling railway terminal, amidst the screech of brakes and the rush of commuters, sat a man who had resigned himself to the shadows. Day after day he extended a weary hand, hoping for the scattered charity of strangers. He saw himself as nothing more than a vessel for pity, existing solely on what others chose to discard. He was a fixture of the station, ignored by most, until the day a particular traveler caught his eye. A man stepped onto the platform, radiating an aura of success. He wore an immaculate suit and carried himself with the confident stride of a captain of industry. To the beggar, this stranger looked like a golden opportunity. Surely someone with such obvious wealth could spare a fortune without blinking? Driven by this assumption, the beggar stepped forward, palm open, ready to receive. However, the interaction did not go as planned. The businessman stopped, but he didn't reach for his wallet. Instead, he pierced the beggar with a gaze that was neither cruel nor kind, but intensely searching. He asked a question that cut through the noise of the station. "You ask for value, but what value do you offer in return? Have you ever given anything to anyone?" The beggar was paralyzed. He stammered, confused by the logic. "Sir, look at me. I beg to survive." "I have nothing to give." The businessman offered a faint, knowing smile. "If you believe you have nothing to give, then you have no right to ask. I am a merchant. I trade in exchanges. If you have no goods to offer, I cannot be your customer." With those piercing words, he turned and vanished into the crowd, leaving the beggar standing alone in the wake of a revelation. For the first time in years, the beggar didn't just feel hungry, he felt challenged. The stranger's words replayed in his mind like a broken record. It wasn't an insult. It was a cold, hard truth. Why should the world invest in him if he contributed nothing to the world? That night, sleep evaded him as a revolutionary thought took root. To receive, one must first be willing to give. After days of deep contemplation, he found his answer growing wild near the rusted tracks, a patch of vibrant wildflowers fighting for life in the dust. An idea sparked. He gathered a small bouquet, and the next time a commuter dropped a coin, the beggar didn't just nod. He handed them a bloom. The reaction was instant. People didn't just drop money. They smiled, their eyes lit up. The transaction had shifted from charity to commerce. He noticed that as long as he had flowers to trade, the donations were generous. When the flowers ran out, the engagement stopped. He finally understood the law of the universe. Value attracts value. Weeks later, the man in the suit returned to the platform. The beggar, eyes now bright with newfound dignity, intercepted him. "Sir, today I have merchandise." He offered a flower with a steady hand. "If you pay me, I will give you this in return." The businessman smiled, a genuine warmth in his eyes, and exchanged a bill for the blossom. "Now, you understand," he said softly. "You are no longer a beggar. You are a businessman." The train arrived, and the mentor departed, but the lesson remained. The flower seller stood taller, his internal narrative rewritten. He realized he wasn't receiving money out of pity anymore. He was being paid for his service. He was a trader. With this explosive realization, he decided he was too big for the railway station. He packed his things and walked away, never to beg again. 6 months later, the same platform witnessed a very different meeting. Two men, both dressed in sharp attire, crossed paths near the ticket counter. One paused, a flicker of recognition crossing his face. "Do I know you?" he asked. The other man laughed, a sound full of confidence and joy. "We have met twice," he replied. "Once when I demanded your money, and once when I sold you a flower." The first man's eyes widened in astonishment. "You? You are the man from the tracks?" "I was," the former beggar replied. "But today I run a flourishing floral business. I am on my way to negotiate a supplier contract in the city." The businessman shook his head in wonder. "What happened?" What changed you so drastically? You did, the florist said, shaking the man's hand as an equal. You taught me that we only receive when we give. I realized I was never really a beggar. I was a businessman who hadn't opened his shop yet. I just had to see myself that way. Life is merely a reflection of the image we hold in our minds. If you view yourself as small and helpless, the world will keep you small. But if you recognize your inner potential and decide to offer value to the world will pay you in kind. Do not limit your horizon. See yourself as strong, capable, and worthy, because when your identity changes, your destiny follows.